Welcome to the Football Express podcast. First episode of this podcast, and the title is pretty self explanatory. It's going to be a podcast where you express your football views, whether they're right, whether they're wrong, it doesn't really matter. What we want to do is we want to explore why you think what you do and have a discussion, talk about latest topics in football, what's been happening, and try to help each other see football in a different way, understand things, learn things. So this is the first episode, we'll see how things go. We don't want to keep it too long, but as it is the first episode, there's quite a few things we have to cover, but we're looking to do like maybe 10-15 minutes of each episode, so then we can do quite regular. And also with the World Cup coming on, that might be a daily podcast that we're gonna do. So I hope everyone is well. Just gonna start off with our Clasico. So Real Madrid 3, Barcelona 1, and that's probably linked in with Barca's elimination from the Champions League. So when you're playing players like Sergio Roberto, you still got Alaba, Busquets, PK. It doesn't matter how much attacking options you have, that defensively is going to cause you problems. And even though I think Barcelona have kept 10 clean sheets out of 12 matches in La Liga, it seems when they're playing the real top sides, they're getting stung. They're getting really punished for the mistakes, which is what you'd expect from the real top sides to do to you if you do make mistakes at that real top level. So I think the international break where Kunde and Araujo got injured, that was a real big blow, and I don't think that they can cover them two being out at the moment. So if Sergio Roberto is playing, I think Alonso was playing centre back in one of the recent matches. I think it might have even been in the Champions League or yesterday against Valencia. If you've got Marcos Alonso playing centre back, how much can you really expect? And like I said, then you've got likes of Busquets, Alaba, Sergio Roberto, who I've been wanting to get rid of from Barcelona for a long time. So it brings us on to the point of Real Madrid as well, who dropped points against Girona yesterday. And I was watching the match and I saw some of the incidents, and I felt like Real Madrid got robbed, which is unusual to see at the Bernabeu, to see those kinds of decisions go against them. So I think the Real Madrid are leading the race by 1 point. So I think Barcelona have still got a chance, but like I said, it depends on the defensive injuries. If they can keep Koundé and Araujo fit for the rest of the season or majority of the rest of the season, then I think they've got a real good chance, because obviously they made a lot of signings during the summer and they're still gonna bed in yet. So the likes of Rafinha still hasn't bedded in, I don't think, but the quality is there. Ansu Fati is somebody, obviously with his injuries, they're trying to bed him in slowly, I think. I'm not sure if he's going to go to the World Cup, but I think that the longer the season goes on, the longer he stays fit, the more confidence he has in his own body, and he could be a big factor, because for me he's an exceptional, not just an exceptional talent, he's an exceptional player right now. Once he gets back to his fitness and gets to play regularly. So yeah, biggest match in the world, probably our Clasico, no matter what anybody says. What else have we got? Yeah, so let's talk about Liverpool Man City as well. Always a top game. This is, no matter, I don't think what form both teams are in. Liverpool versus Man City is always a very high standard of football. The Premier League would like to have you think that every single match, or like 80% of the matches in the season, are like this one, but they're really not. So it's always fascinating to watch. And even though Liverpool are going through a bit of a tough time, their style of play matches up perfectly against Man City. In that match, I don't think they really let Man City counter them. And I think Man City would have been happy with the draw in that match, and I think they would have got it. But obviously, that mistake from Cancelo letting Salah for that goal. And I think if Man City had drawn or beaten Liverpool, Liverpool would have been totally out of the title race. It's gone. Which brings us on to Liverpool versus Leeds on Saturday, which I gave Leeds like a 0.5% chance of winning at the start of the match, and then obviously that early big mistake from Liverpool let Leeds in, and then even then, once Liverpool had scored, I thought, okay, they're just going to be, Saturday night under the Anfield crowd, they're going to be too much for Leeds to handle, and they're going to win. But I was shocked that Leeds won that match, and now Liverpool, the way they've been over the last 3, 4, 5 years, they are capable, you'd say, of going on a 10, 15 match unbeaten run, like winning like 14 out of 15 matches. But with the World Cup coming up, with the season they are having, and the amount of ground they do have to catch up, I think you could pretty much say the title is over, because Man City are averaging something like 82 points under Guardiola in the league. So that's incredible. And you'd expect them, after the World Cup, the way they play, barring big injuries, you'd expect them to carry on just doing what they're doing. So yeah, a big shock at Liverpool. And what is going wrong with Liverpool? Is it the manager? Is it FSG? They're not investing. Everybody says, is the players tired? Can't they cope with Klopp's style of play anymore? Is loss of confidence? So many things can be said, but I think, I'm not saying Klopp should be sacked, but sometimes when you have, it's similar to the Arsene Wenger situation at Arsenal, in the sense that if you're gonna replace them, there's probably not somebody better than them, but with them still there, things can't get better either, if that makes some sort of sense. So even though like Klopp is, you'd say, if Liverpool get rid of Klopp, who are they going to get in? At a certain point, you reach like a plateau where maybe the players lose faith in you, or the message, they get bored of the message, or they can't react to things because, I don't know, age, or they just can't do it anymore, or they lose a bit of faith in the manager. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I don't think they'll sack him. I don't think they will sack him, but it's going to be interesting to see whether he does go with a change of style, or he goes back to what we say the old Liverpool. But depends on personnel as well. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that situation pans out, whether they're out of the title race completely, or whether they can even get top four, because like I said, it's an unprecedented season coming up with the World Cup. I think 3 weeks away, so it's going to be really interesting. But I'm interested to see whether they even get top four, which they might just put all the eggs in the basket of the Champions League. So we'll see what happens with them. And what else happened in the last few weeks? We had Ronaldo walking out. Was it the Tottenham match where he walked out? And this is an interesting subject as well, because he walked out, and initially I thought that he just walked out with 2 minutes to go, because just he wasn't going to come on, so he just walked off. Bit of attention seeking. But then I think it was the next day where they said that he was due to come on. Eric Ten Hag was going to bring him on, but he refused to come on. So for me, that's almost like an unwritten rule, what he's gone beyond there, refusing to come on. And we get all this stuff. Actually, I'll leave that to in a couple of points time. We'll talk about Roy Keane first, because it was a match where Roy Keane, I think, was discussing with Gary Neville and Hasselbank post match after the Tottenham match. I think was it. We were talking about Ronaldo and Keane was defending him as if he'd done nothing wrong, or it might have been after the Tottenham match actually. Just defending him in the sense that he's done nothing wrong. It's understandable how he's reacted, and just like saying he deserves to play. But it's something I always ask myself, like, even if people think that Ronaldo is the greatest player in the world and the best player of all time, at what age or what stage does he stop being that? So if he stayed for another 10 years at Man United and he's like 48 years old, would he still, would you still say that, yeah, he's got to start because he's Ronaldo? So there comes a certain stage and time for every player where they're not who they are, and you can't look at them on their history or their reputation, and you have to judge the player who he is now and how he adds value to the team. So if you put Ronaldo in, say, this Man United team, and you organise and structure them just to play to his strengths, I'm pretty sure that he'd score goals. But then would the team suffer? So which one do you want as a Man United fan or a Ronaldo fan? You'd probably just want him to score goals. So you could just say to everyone, see, he can still score goals. But if you're a Man United fan, what do you want the team to win matches, to get in the Champions League, to be competing for the league? Or do you want Ronaldo to be happy and for him to add to his stats? So I couldn't I'm a big admirer of Roy Keane, and if I had to choose Premier League all time 11, I'm pretty sure he'd be in there and he'd be my captain, because for me he was an absolutely fantastic captain. And to see what he was like as a player and to see him defending like Ronaldo's actions, and it feels like contradictory in a way. So he walked out, and then the match yesterday, Ronaldo, he had blanked Jamie Carragher a week or so ago, and then yesterday, before the match, he shook hands with Luis Saha, and I can't remember who else was there, and then Gary, I think it was Jamie Redknapp, and then Gary Neville was there as well, and then he didn't shake Gary Neville's hand, which to me, I always call it PR7, public relations 7. Ronaldo's got the greatest PR in the history of the world to me, and it wouldn't surprise me if that was they discussed that previously. But if they hadn't, then to me that's something very, very petty on the part of Ronaldo. Gary Neville, for what I can remember, has probably bigged him up for the last 10-15 years, and I think it was in that discussion with Public Keane where he was saying Ronaldo shouldn't be in the team, whatever. However, Ronaldo's got the hump with him, but they were teammates for so long. Gary Neville probably captained Ronaldo as well at Man United, and to see someone do stuff like that, it always gets me. In terms of, people always say Ronaldo is the model professional and role model for kids and this, that, and the other, but there's a long and growing list of things that he does which you would say are not professional, or you wouldn't want kids to look up to. So it's a funny one, because like I said, PR with Ronaldo is incredible, and we'll probably get into that in later episodes. But yeah, so that Ronaldo PR. What else? Couple of things. Steven Gerrard got sacked, which probably wasn't too surprising. He probably knew himself. Emery has come in, and I think that's a good appointment, to be honest. And it's just something I've got written down in terms of identity, and De Zerbi, the new Brighton manager. So when managers come in, what kind of identity do they bring to the club? For me, I see a lot of managers come into clubs and it's just the same old thing. They might get the club organised, but there's no real, like, this is who I am and things are going to be in this way. And you see the team straight away having a certain structure or having a certain style of play. and players who you think, oh, he looked terrible under the previous manager, but suddenly they look like a different player. So for me, I like to see managers come in with their own ideas, with a bit of flair, and not just come in and try and be organized to start off with. I like coaching. I like to see coaches working with players and seeing difference in players and admiring that. So same with Graham Potter at Brighton. I love watching Graham Potter's Brighton because the way the big okay, if you compare them with some of the teams nearer the bottom of the table, they probably may have spent a bit in the last few years, but the style of play you could see when they come up against the top teams, they're not scared, they're being on the front foot. I'm pretty sure the players enjoy the training sessions during the week. Sorry, I'm pretty sure the fans enjoyed the football, even though they booed Graham Potter when the other day when Chelsea lost to Brighton. Um, so style of play and identity for me personally is important because I don't want to just see managers get jobs and keep getting jobs and it's the same old like rigid style of play and you don't see improvement in players over time and then um just don't like it. I just don't like it. Ballon d'Or. So Benzema won the Ballon d'Or, and over the last 2 3 years, I think a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Lewandowski got robbed of the Ballon d'Or when they didn't have it." I think it was in 2020, and then Messi won it, and then it should have been Lewandowski. But for me, Benzema has been incredible, and in the last month or so, I think he's had a like injury, so he was out, so his form kind of like dipped probably slightly. But it's good to see players getting recognition. It's good to see players getting recognition. I think Sadio Mane finished second, and I can't remember who finished third. Here, but I think Ballon d'Or Benzema is well deserved. I think they've changed the voting criteria now as well, so I think it's done by season. I think previously they had done it by the calendar year, so that might should change things as well. Messi's having an incredible start to the season, so let's see if he can carry that on. What else have I got? Okay, Anthony's trick he done in the Europa League the other day, and when he got subbed. So for me, when I first saw it, I thought, what's he doing? Pretty much like probably everyone else. But then, if you look at it a bit deeply, you think to yourself, okay, there wasn't. He was in a place in the pitch where nothing was happening really. He done a few turns and then he's looked to do a positive pass, a forward pass, and he's overhit the pass. Okay, that can happen, but he did look to be positive. So for me, if it was a case of he was in on goal, and there was a clear pass across goal to one of his teammates, and it would have been like a certain goal, and then he's done something like that, then for me that would have been a terrible thing to do because obviously then you're costing your team a goal and it's not the right thing to do in that situation. But for that situation, what he didn't lose the ball. There wasn't a pass, a straight obvious pass, or when he received the ball, it wasn't like, oh yeah, if he had done a first time pass, a player would have been in. So that added a little bit of entertainment to the fans, you'd say, and I think that's what's missing in football a lot. There's a lot of structure. There's not a lot of flair in the game. You've got Neymar, who on the weekend he could have had one of the greatest assists ever. If you haven't seen it, try to check it out. I think it was Mbappe. He got it to Mbappe, and then the goalkeeper saved the shot. If that had gone in, it would have been incredible. So for me, like I said, personally, I want to see more flair. I don't mind it.